authentic voice of the Nigerian military.
Your music and your own effects to it.
Not just good music, great music on Armed Forces Radio.
Get educated, get entertained, get informed with Armed Forces Radio.
107.7 FM.
Authentic voice of the Nigerian military.
Oui, chers auditeurs, et voilà, c'est l'heure de notre petite classe de français. It's time for our little French lesson. Today we are going to talk about the past, our yesterday, our day of yesterday, what we did, what you did yesterday. We are going to learn how to use the past. So in this lesson, you will be able to use the passé composé. Passé composé is one of the French past tenses in the indicative mood. We said that in the French, we also have indicative mood in French, just like in English. In English, you have 4 tenses under the past in the indicative mood, which are for instance, we have the simple past, we have the past perfect, we have the past continuous, we have the past perfect continuous. Meanwhile, in French, you have the passé simple, you have the passé composé, and also the passé antérieur. In French, you have 8 tenses in the indicative mood, while in English you have 12 tenses. In French, you have 4 simple tenses and 4 composed tenses. And one of the composed tenses is the passé composé. We're going to look at it today. We're going to see how to conjugate the passé composé as one of the past tenses in French. Used to talk about the past event, like your yesterday, what you did yesterday, your yesterday's activities. And we are also going to describe our daily routine and activities from the previous day, as I've said already, and use appropriate time expressions to indicate a specific moment or durations. So let's start. We have a dialogue here. As today also I'm going to present by myself, Monsieur. My co-presenter is not here today, so definitely I'm going to present by myself. I hope he's fine, and he's going to join us maybe next week. So I'm going to present the dialogue. Here we have 2 persons presenting. We have ma journée d'hier, that is my yesterday, my day of yesterday. So we have person 1 and 2. We have bonjour, qu'est-ce que tu fais, qu'est-ce que tu as fait hier? Bonjour, qu'est-ce que tu as fait hier? And the person will respond as, hier j'ai passé une très bonne journée. Hier j'ai passé une très bonne journée. Ah oui, avec qui? Avec qui? Avec ma famille et quelques amis. Avec ma famille et quelques amis. Et comment ça s'est passé? Et comment ça s'est passé? It's a question. Et comment ça s'est passé? And you respond by saying, ça s'est passé très bien. Nous avons fait beaucoup de choses. Le matin, je me suis levé à 7 heures. Le matin, je me suis réveillé à 7 heures. J'ai pris mon petit déjeuner vers 7h30 du matin. J'ai pris du pain et un café. Ensuite, j'ai fait du jogging au parc avec mon frère jusqu'à 9h. Et l'après-midi, Et l'après-midi, j'ai déjeuné avec mes amis dans un petit restaurant. Puis nous avons fait les magasins et acheté quelques vêtements. Après ça, je suis rentré chez moi vers 17 heures. Et la soirée, le soir, j'ai regardé, for instance, la télévision. Nous avons, par exemple, regardé un film avec ma famille vers 22 heures. Je suis allé me coucher. Je suis allé dormir. That is a dialogue. So here we have a dialogue between two persons. One person is asking about the other person's activities, and the person is responding. You will notice that we use the passé composé. Okay, so yeah, and we also have l'imparfait, and we also have plus que parfait. These are all past tenses. Okay, so we have about like 5 or 6 past tenses in French. And in English, as I've said, we have just 4 past tenses in the indicative mood. And it's quite, you cannot actually translate the past tenses both in English and French except in context, because sometimes words do not have meaning except in context. So you have to understand the context before you do a proper translation. So yeah, what is it that we're going to do? We're going to learn, for instance, yesterday. Yeah means yesterday. Hello, what did you do yesterday? That was the question. Qu'est-ce que tu as fait hier? Between friends, you use the informal, you use tu, you don't say vous to your friends. And we also have some other expressions. Yeah, I had a great day. J'ai passé une très bonne journée. And we also have avec qui, avec ma famille. Avec qui means with who or with whom. And the response was with my family and few friends. Avec quelques amis. Quelques here means few friends. We also have comment ça s'est passé, and how did it go, how was the day? And the person replied, very well, in the morning, très bien, le matin, that is the morning, l'après-midi, that is the afternoon, le soir, that is the evening. And we have other expressions, but because of time, let's look at the passé composé. What is the passé composé? As I've said, is the past tense. It could be the perfect, the past perfect, or the simple past, depending on the context. Okay, so here we have the passé composé. Passé composé, as I've said, is a composed tense. Why? Because it is actually formed with 2 verbs, the main verb and the auxiliary. We have 2 auxiliary verbs, the verb to have, that is avoir, and the verb être, that is to be. And these 2 verbs are conjugated in the present tense plus the past participle of the main verb. Okay, and we have already conjugated the passé composé, the present of être, which is je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, and the present of avoir, j'ai, tu as, il a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ou elles ont, and you use the past participle of the verb. The past participle are categorized in 3 forms. The first group verbs, that is the here verbs, they form their past participle with a, that is a accent aigu. In French, you have accent, so you have the aigu, you have the circumflex, and you also have the grave. So here you use the accent aigu. You also actually learn French, actually do understand what I'm saying here. And the IR verbs, they make their past participle with I, and the other 3rd groups, that is the irregular verbs, have different form of the past participle. So you need to know how to conjugate them, just like the ed verbs in English and the irregular verbs that are quite different. So you know, you have the verbs that form their past participle with ed, and the other irregular verbs you need to actually find out, and no specific rule because they are different. So you need to know how to conjugate how to use their past participle. So that is it also for French. But here we have two auxiliaries. How do I know when to use the auxiliary être and the auxiliary avoir? So the auxiliary être is used for the movement verbs, and the auxiliary avoir is used for the rest of the verbs, okay? Auxiliary être used for auxiliary verbs and the pronominal verbs. The pronominal verbs are a set of verbs that are, you can call them the reflexive verbs, okay? When the actions is on the subject, so you use the pronominal, like myself, voilà. I listen to myself, for instance, je m'écoute. So you have the ce verbs in French. So these are the verbs that are used with the pronominal. Okay, you have déjeuner, déjeuner, having lunch, petit déjeuner, that is breakfast, se lever, to get up, prendre le petit déjeuner, as I said, to have a breakfast, faire du sport, to do exercise, dîner, that is dinner, regarder la télé, to watch TV, se coucher, to go to bed. Then we talked about the time. In French, you use the 24 hours, like the military time. So you have une heure, that is 1 hour, une heure or 1 o'clock, 2 heures, 2, 3, 4, and you need to know how to count from 1 to 24, and voilà, you use une heure, 2 heures, 3 heures, 4 heures, 5 heures, etc. Allez, because of time, we're going to stop here. We'll continue next week, same time on the same station. I've said we are just giving you some tips so that you will have some interest in learning French. If that is the case, just take yourself to the French Institute of Nigeria at Wuse 2 Aminu Kanu Crescent. There, of course, you will learn French as easy as bonjour. This is French Echo. Let's have a little musical break. We'll come back with our storytelling in French. Don't touch a dial.
The Nigerian military.
Your music and your own effects.